We are going to take the next hour and a half together to take you on a whirlwind tour about girls, about human-centered design. So we want to show you a little bit of media so that you can come into our world and come out to the field with us. We want you to meet our country managers who are here from Uganda, Rwanda, and Kenya. And we want you to, of course, meet 7 of our terrific entrepreneurs that are here.
That is the case with education, particularly around girls. I know you can't read this. I apologize. 31 million girls are primary school aged, aren't in school, and over half of them will never attend. Whether it's with issues of resources and sanitation. 88% of diseases are caused by drinking water in the developing world. Whether it's issues of income inequality. Particularly in developing markets, the markets are growing, the economies are growing, and the gap, the income gap and disparity is only growing more stark. And so while problems are changing, solutions and our approach to solutions isn't evolving at the same pace. And that's true across sectors. We find that it's true in the development world. We find it's true of governments. We find it's in many cases true in the private sector as well. And so we try again to bring a design approach to solving these problems. Too often we build improvements that people don't want. This one should look familiar. This is local. The idea that we don't consult with the people often for whom we're designing. We ignore behaviors, lifestyles, and cultures. We continue to address problems in these same ways and are wondering why they continue to persist. And the problem is this, that we've developed solutions for users and for communities rather than with users and with communities. And so our approach brings in human-centered design. I'm sure people have heard of human-centered design. Who in the room has heard of human-centered design?
Most of the people.
Great. How many people in here consider themselves pretty well versed in human-centered design? Fewer. Great. So a really, really quick overview. Our idea is that creating stuff that people want is the first rule to creating things at all. And that human-centered design is the process of gaining really deep understanding about what those things are before we start designing. It is the very first step. And it's a 5-step process. You'll see here, those of you who are familiar with HCD has probably seen these steps called other things. The first step is exploring, asking questions, doing research. That can look like surveys. It can look like deep ethnographical research, embedding yourselves in communities and with the people you're designing for. The second step is sharing, taking the things that you've heard and developing a story, finding connections, looking for patterns. After you've done that, we identify opportunities for intervention. We ask questions. We write what we call design challenges. We ask, how might we improve some issue we've seen? How might we be able to address this opportunity? Next, we imagine. This is where you begin brainstorming. This is where you generate lots of ideas. This stage is not about being realistic. This stage is about really coming up with the wildest, most amazing, most out there solutions that you can think of. And then the next stage is building. This is where you narrow it down. You generate and then you narrow down to a smaller set of solutions. And then you prototype. This is where we build. And when we say prototype, most people think of prototyping physical objects and physical products. We certainly do that, but we also prototype mobile products and mobile experiences. We prototype service experiences. We prototype entire business models. And then it starts all over again. So you then take that prototype into the field and you research with it. And you have people use it. And you have them help improve it and help build it. And it's an iterative process. What we'd like to do now is show a quick video that goes a little bit more in depth about not just human-centered design, but how our entrepreneurs and how our program use this in both the design of the program and in the work that our entrepreneurs are doing.
are they really care about practical things. They really care that things are useful for them. They don't just want to have things that are flash. They care about functionality. And they don't expect that they can't do jobs and they can't do part-time jobs and that they can't work. And one of they also are focused on not only products for themselves, but also for their families. And they are seeking multifunction products wherever they can. So we're sort of trying to get you into the headspace, which is what we did with our entrepreneurs, about who are these girls, and for any given product or service or company girls working. Um, I'm going to just move on. Yep. And say, if you're thinking as an investor, which was the hat that I'm wearing, about how do we think disproportionately affect girls in a positive way. And one of the things that you may find when you talk to our entrepreneurs is that it's not just about doing something good for the girl, but it is about very much girls outperforming in some places, outperforming their male counterparts. And so if you're thinking from a business standpoint, you want to be thinking, well, who's going to be the better sales agent? Who's going to be the person who's going to be able to help design a product so it really fits for a
create a girl product that wasn't a core competency, or create a service to help girls that really was tangential to what they do. For all these businesses, and obviously our entrepreneurs can speak more to this, the idea of social impact, particularly for girls and commercial success, is inextricably linked. And that as these businesses succeed, so will the girls that they are serving.
And then, of course, there are barriers to girls as well. So you have social barriers, you have practical barriers, and so these are some of the things that we're.
Why is Africa, first of all? They say there are over 2 million girls living in poverty in Africa or in the world, and we started with East Africa. Well, we started with East Africa because majority of the population in East Africa is really young. For example, in Uganda, over 50% is below the age of 30 and 71% below the age of 15. And majority of these young people are actually girls. So we thought it would be a good place to start. And the high rate of unemployment across East Africa is also fostering a lot of innovations to come up with young people to actually think beyond the box. We had a long search and a huge number of applications come in, and we did our very best to pick the entrepreneurs that we felt would really impact, would support their businesses with human-centered design and all, to impact these businesses, to be able to reach out to girls and also impact the lives of girls. So in Uganda, we picked 6 companies, and I'm just going to briefly talk about them. Bana, formerly Bana Pads, now Bana, is manufacturing affordable and eco-friendly pads using banana leaves. And apart from that, they are working with village girls, both in and out of school girls, in their raw material, in the whole of their value chain. Girls provide raw materials, girls are part of the production, and girls are also part of the distribution, which helps girls earn and also stay healthy.
And Civico is a financial savings, a mobile finance company that is creating a model where SACCOs do not have to physically meet, but have this application that allows people to actually save their money without actually having to move and not be safe. So for girls, the impact for girls is that a girl doesn't actually have to carry money from her home to go to a SACCO and paying that money. And it also helps her be able to manage her money. They're teaching them financial literacy. So a girl is not just saving, but actually learns how to save her, to use her money, and also can access a loan just on a, through her hand in the safety of her home. Finance Trust Bank has also created a product specifically for girls 10 to 19, where girls 10 to 19 can actually open up their own saving account and have control of their money, which hasn't been in the past, where they either had to have a parent save it for you or something. But now a girl actually has this control, and they're also teaching them financial literacy and business skills, where a girl now knows what to do with her money. Jibu is a franchising company that, a water franchising company that allows entrepreneurs or young people to actually own their own distribution, distribution franchises and earn money from it. And with this, Jibu is allowing girls to be micro franchises or owners to be able to earn money and also keep safe, because they now actually have access to safe and not cheap, but affordable drinking water. Africa's model is a farm, is a farming up. Sorry, Africa provides farms, seedlings, and the know-how to young girls to be able to, first of all, earn money as they do the farming, and also they're teaching them business skills and saving skills so that the girls can actually save money that's coming out from this. And what's unique about this is that girls originally didn't have access to land because they actually don't have land to own, and they also don't know how to actually run a farm, and Africa is providing all this for the girls. Village Energy is a last mile solar distribution and repair company, which has a micro entrepreneurship focus for young girls to have solar phone charging devices, where they actually earn money from this, and is also teaching them business skills, saving skills, so that the girls can actually earn and also know what to do with their money. And that is it for Uganda. Run.
Rwanda, for the spring program, we have four companies, and you'll hear from Gaia later. She runs Earth Enable, and that's one of the companies that we have that really has a direct impact on girls as the end user or consumer. A lot of the companies that we have as part of the program, part of the spring program, have girls as part of the value chain. And there were some interesting insights that came out for us in that, because we're really working with the entrepreneur to redefine not so much their product, but how they're involving girls as sellers or resellers or producers. So we have Hope Basso, who is an ethical fashion brand, and they're using girls as producers of their products. We've got Shakina, which is an agriculture company and has a dried cassava leaf product for both in Rwanda and export. And girls are collecting the cassava leaves and reselling them, so they're getting a higher wage working with Shakina. And then we also have Ken's, which is an electronic bus ticketing company, and girls are the sellers there. So girls are, as we talked about earlier, are learning to work and have different skills, and we're also working with the entrepreneur. The human-centered design piece here is working with the entrepreneur to create a positive, healthy work environment for the girls, which is revolutionary for all of those who raise their hands about work in Rwanda and also across East Africa, is really creating a healthy work environment for young girls in the workplace. I'd be happy to go in depth about more of these, but I'm going to pass it on, but come and find me later if you want to hear more about the Rwanda companies.
Patricia.
Thanks. And then we have Kenya, the SIP.
It's a wonder, right?
Yeah, so what I'll share from Kenya was more really the insights that led us to, what Suzanne and everybody here has talked about. I know the first time when we were launching Spring, it was like, what? You're looking for entrepreneurs who are designing products and services for girls? Girls can't buy anything. Girls are just not consumers. Girls they're not really anybody to think about. And so we started with the landscaping to give us insights about what are the things that we're seeing in Kenya. And the insights that came out from our landscaping were, many girls are spending so much of their time doing household chores, which involve fetching water, or looking after the young siblings, or looking after a neighbor's siblings. And some of the entrepreneurs that are solving some of these problems that you're going to talk to later in the room are Kidogo, who provides early childhood care. So a single mother, a young mother, doesn't need to leave her child with her other daughter or son or the neighbor, but can take their child to a daycare. And Tiny Total, that is providing usually women between the ages of 17 to 25 who are running informal daycare centers, helping them upgrade their skill to safely look after other people's children. And then we have Africa Aqua, who is really solving the burden of girls spending so much time fetching water. Because, you know, that burden really falls on the girls. And he's doing it innovatively. I won't give out the secret. He'll share with you what that is all about. So in our insights and landscaping as well, what we found out when we talked to girls is, I want to earn my own money, and I want to buy my own dresses, I want to buy my own sanitary pads, I want to buy my own makeup. But I have to depend on my parents who are poor. So that gave us an insight that girls actually want to purchase, and they're consumers. And you know, if given an opportunity, they'll do that. And one of our entrepreneurs, Sarah Millers, is doing that by trying to figure out what is one of the easiest ways to put assets in the hands of girls. I know for many of us, chicken, hens are not assets, you know, but for a young girl, she can actually see the benefit of rearing that, you know, getting eggs out of that and earning some money to, you know, buy her necessity, her bare essentials. And we also have, during the landscaping, what came out as well was a lot of early teen pregnancies. And many people being, you know, sidelined when they get pregnant, hiding the pregnancy, not going to hospitals because they do not know where to get that information from. And so through Total Health, we are solving that problem by providing information to mothers to make decisions concerning their pregnancy and also information on the growth of their children up to the age of 5. And just going on to that, when we're doing our landscaping, we did it broadly across Nairobi and out of Nairobi. Many girls were telling us they're sexually being abused, or you know, they suffer from certain health ailments that they cannot, you know, go and seek help for. So through Doctor Search, we are solving that problem by providing online consultations where girls can, you know, confidentially talk to somebody online, and some of these issues can be sorted out. And we also realized that when we asked many of the girls, what do you do? What happened? I dropped out of school. So if you're given an opportunity, what would you do? I'll start a green grocery, or I'll start a salon, or I'll start a business. So one of our entrepreneurs found that a lot of the businesses, informal businesses, especially grocery businesses, are run by out-of-school girls or young women between the ages of 25 who dropped out of school. And that's the easiest thing to start because it doesn't need a lot of capital. So with Green Credit, what he's trying to do is provide affordable fresh produce to these informal ladies or young women, but with a catch. Many of them still have school-going kids. So through their purchase history, he's able to make decisions of whether to give them more credit, and also they earn loyalty points to be able to pay school fees for their kids.
Started Village Energy actually 5 years ago, approximately now. But over the last 1 year, we've been pivoting that business. And you guys have been really awesome. We were a solar distribution company, but then we quickly learned that one of the biggest bottlenecks to distribution is the absence of repairs and skilled technicians. So we basically rethought our business and decided to ensure that whoever purchases a solar system has access to a skilled technician and a repair within 48 hours from when they purchase the product. Our theory of change was that if we can fix the technologies, we can fix the trust in solar technologies, and that will lead to an increase in adoption of technologies and open up markets for a lot more people. When we started focusing on repairs, we discovered that a lot more people were coming to us for new products because they trusted that we're there. And so we went back into product distribution. And so we set up these outlets. We call them micro franchises, although they are more like pay-to-own franchises, right? So we have to work with the entrepreneurs over a period of about 9 months, initially as Village Energy staff, and as they learn and grow their outlets, then we basically hand over the rights to operate that business. During that period when we were pivoting, we came across 2 girls who were really excited about the solar space, the fact that we were providing technical training and building skilled technicians. They joined the program, trained. We gave them outlets, and at one point we had 6 outlets, and these 2 girls were responsible for about 60% of the entire sales of all of these outlets. And at that time, that's when Spring came up, and they were asking for businesses that are interested in getting girls more involved. Why did we want to join Spring? Because it made business sense. That if 2 girls can do 60% of our turnover out of 6 outlets, then we certainly want at least half of our human resource as girls and half of our entrepreneurs as girls. So we went into it's time?
You need to stop.
Okay.
So what's amazing about all these entrepreneurs is they could talk for an hour and you'd want to listen to them but in the interest of time, we've given them each 90 seconds.
My safe water distribution. Previously, for the last 8 years, I founded and worked on sanitation successfully across the Kenya urban space. That was the eco toilet, and which is now profitable and going on. So last year, I decided there's another niche that really we require to look at. Since independence, 40% have only been met by the utility in terms of safe water. 60% after 50 years don't have access to safe water. So we have taken it up from the pipe and saying, how do we take it the extra mile in terms of geography, the unreached, and also in terms of the poverty. The very, very remote geographies in Kenya. And so the model involves where we are doing the abstraction of water, we are doing treatment, high-level treatment, with approvals by Kenya Bureau of Standard and WHO, and then we are also packaging, and packaging in a different way. Where I come from the village in Kenya and most across the region, is you'll find yellow and black jerry cans. So we had to come up with a new system of packaging with white jerry can to ensure that people start seeing the perception of safe water. From there, we are now doing the distribution through the micro-distribution centers that we are setting up, engaging, including girls in the distribution chain, using tuk-tuk, and next month of March, we'll be rolling out the 2nd generation of donkey carts that we have done through human-centered design with the university. It's a long story, but let me
Thank you.
80% of girls in Rwanda and billions of people worldwide live and sleep on a dirt floor. Dirt floors make people sick, causing diseases ranging from diarrhea to malnutrition, respiratory disease, vector-borne diseases. But unfortunately, a concrete floor is just too expensive, costing over $300 for a small home. Meanwhile, it's actually been shown that replacing a dirt floor with a clean floor can reduce diarrhea by 49% and parasitic infections by 78%. So, because concrete is too expensive, this is why Earth Enable, and this is going to floor you, has developed a floor that's a third of the price of concrete. It's basically made of compacted earthen materials and then sealed with a proprietary oil that turns to a plastic-like resin when it dries, making the surface abrasion resistant, waterproof, and a durable floor that can also be repaired unlike concrete. So far we've been in business for about 1.5 years and have already impacted over 2,000 people and are so excited to continue our quest to eliminate dirt floors. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dev Okech. I'm the founder and managing director of Sari Millers Limited. We are basically using agribusiness, specifically poultry farming, to empower adolescent girls between the age of 10 to 19. We do this by providing them with the chicks, providing them quality and affordable feeds, and constructing them poultry pens. Through this process, we set up a revolving fund where we start gaining back our initial input that you're giving the girl when the hens start laying. We provide market for the hens and for the eggs. And so we have started with 50 through the spring program, and we are going to upscale this to 100 using the same amount that we got for the initial 50. And we are looking forward to scaling this up to at least 2,000 girls within the next possible 2 years. So, thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you. Yeah, from Total Health.
Good afternoon. It's good to see all of you. My desire for today is that we can be able to pick your brains on how best to do that. And you can always come and look at some of the products that are part of the maternity package. Thank you so much.
No one who's willing to give you money. People don't have appetite to give you credit. So green credit comes in that space where we are able to collect data in people running informal businesses and giving them credit. How have we been able to collect the data? We have a sister company that we use for prototyping, our model called Fresh Green, that pretty much solves the challenge of mama mbogas or roadside vegetable vendors going to the market at 4 a.m. and basically getting low quality and have to deal with the inconveniences of logistics from a cost and time standpoint. So what happens with Fresh Green? They source and distribute vegetables and fruits to mama mbogas at their doorstep at the same price as if they would have gone to the market. And at that time, they are able to collect data using our innovative Nunua mobile application. And that's purchase trends is what we use on the green credit side to give credit. So that's how we've pretty much been able to solve their inaccessibility of finances. Here we're looking to pretty much impact the lives of the girls, basically by ensuring that each time we trade with them, they also earn loyalty points that they can redeem for school fees and also take loans to pay school fees. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Afsal. I run an organization called Kidogo. We are a social enterprise that provides high quality, affordable early childhood care and education in Nairobi's informal settlements. How do we do that? We operate what we call a hub and spoke model. The hubs are corporate owned early childhood centers. So we do baby care, baby class, nursery, pre-unit. So it's all children 6 months to 6 years. And that's offered on a fee for service basis. So parents actually pay for that service. And then we work with home-based baby care. So these are child care centers that are informal. And we bring the mamapreneurs, that's what we call them, who run those centers, into ours as a center of excellence and train them on best practices around childcare and also around how to run their micro business. So to make them more sustainable and also provide higher quality. And really the girl impact here is that usually childcare as a burden falls on older siblings, and usually that's an adolescent girl. And so in order to enable them to go back to school or seek employment, you're able to actually take the childcare burden off of them.
Terrific. Bravo. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Charles Kamodo, and I'm the founder and CEO of Doctor Search Limited. We run a website called findadoctor.co.ke. So I'm a practicing physician. I've been practicing as a consultant for the last 12 years. And during that time, both in government and private, I came across, I formed two conclusions really, that plenty of our people are suffering from chronic diseases, hypertension, diabetes, and they're being controlled very, very poorly because of the poor numbers that we have. We have very few doctors compared to the large number of people out there. And the reason why I formed Find a Doctor was to be able to connect doctors and patients more easily, and technology was really coming up in Kenya with M-Pesa, and I decided to harness that, and it's done pretty well. But the second thing I realized is that many of our girls were actually suffering quite a lot, and I knew this because one day a girl was brought in from a children's home, and she was a parking girl. She just moved into the children's home, and she was really in bad shape. And fortunately, we were able to help her out, and we gave them a discount. But thanks to Spring, we actually expanded that program. So over the last couple of weeks and months, we've gone out to the slums, and we've been able to actually give access, online connection, to girls in the slums, to 2 schools in those slums, to doctors who are seated in the offices. So through our internet, through our website and app, the girls were able to receive counseling. And actually one of them who had been stopped from going to school because they didn't have fees, were actually able to get a sponsor for her to go to school. And that sponsor has covered for the 4 years. So we want to make that more sustainable, counting on Spring, so that we can help more of those girls, help them to be healthier and to go to school and complete it. Thanks.
Thank you. Terrific.
A huge market opportunity to actually create value from the waste that you're being collected. So how are we doing this? We're installing toilets in people's homes for free that are container-based. We're then servicing them and transforming the collected material into charcoal briquettes. So these 2 revenue streams are independently financially sustainable. And the impact of installing a toilet in someone's home is quite extreme. And we've learned this from one of our clients. So the father of two girls said to us, he said, I can finally have chai with my daughters at night. And at first it took us a second to realize what he meant when he said that. And it's because he no longer had to escort his daughters outside to use the bathroom at night. And have to wake them up to go escort them to use the bathroom. So we really see how sanitation disproportionately affects adolescent girls. And so we're growing our model in Naivasha. And I'd really love any people's good ideas on how to increase the value people place on a toilet, how to manage a top-notch sales team to overcome the 7.1 million Kenyans that lack access to sanitation.
Thank you. Great.
As our entrepreneurs, but we can't thank Spring enough for the innovations, both the human-centered design piece of it, and focusing on the younger girls, because what we do now is all of our franchises have on average 3 micro franchises that have been launched out from them on the edges of their territory, and many of those are young girls who are now in business for the first time, making a good living, and we use that as a vetting process for them to become a franchisee. The franchise, by the way, is a small shop the size of a small coffee shop. We filter water on the spot, bottle it, seal it. It has a government stamp of approval. It has about a 1 kilometer radius. So we use it as an expansion mechanism. We never would have thought of this without the encouragement of Spring, and are forever grateful to you. So thank you so much for what you've done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now that you know about the entrepreneurs in the room, we have time, right? We're going to just make it happen. That you could pick an entrepreneur that you want to go sit with. So the idea is that each table, so Abu is here, and Gaia is there, and David is there. You heard their story. Dave from Millers is there, Total Health in the back. And go and sit with them, and we're going to have you do 3 things. One is just a super quick, what hat are you wearing at the table? Like, what do you bring to the conversation? Just very, very quickly. Like, I'm a human-centered designer as well, or I'm an investor. I'm a measurement and evaluation expert. That's the first thing, super quickly. The second is that the entrepreneur is going to say just a little bit more about their business and tell you about a challenge that they're facing right now. And then we're going to have you just take about 10 minutes to rapid fire ideas for them, contacts, quick ideas, a model that you've seen that they might look at, just to give them some advice and input. When they first give you their description of the business and their challenge, you can ask a few clarifying questions. So we'll do, if Abu was talking about Village Energy and he gives a little bit of an overview and then presents a challenge, the first couple of chances that you have is just to say, what do you mean by that? Or I just want to sharpen that question, or can you give me just a little bit more background? And then go into actually giving some quick ideas. And we've got a reporter at each table. So reporters, hold your hands up. And you guys are going to go and sit too. Okay. And so the entrepreneurs don't have to take their own notes because the reporters are going to be reporting. And then we're going to do a quick feedback and do a few last things about summarizing where we're at in the program and a few places about where we're going to go. So if the entrepreneurs would stand up so that people can see you, that would be really helpful. And then in the fastest but safest way possible, if you can move or feel free to stay, to be with an entrepreneur who we're spotlighting, please move around. And if you don't want to move around, just stay right where you are. So you got 2 minutes to do this move. Thanks.
Our issue was how do we build, like a strong brand with our customers, and someone came up with the idea of ratings, So the challenge is still how do you create a rating system for people in rural areas where it's limited technology. So still playing with that in my mind, but I know if I did that, it would be revolutionized.
Like the TripAdvisor of service, solar service. Awesome. Okay, Andrew.
Ideas that came out was really understanding the how long people are living within these urban settlements, and if you can have someone subscribe to a year-long subscription from the onset. And so really for us, the aha moment is really understanding exactly how many months people are living in these rapidly urbanizing communities.
Cool. Gaia.
A couple ideas that came out was diversifying the products that we're offering. So beyond the floor, think about other uses of our oils that the Masons could get involved with during lower periods. And another idea was to look at institutional clients for the low periods of time, which would be schools or churches or something else that might not have the same constraints around when they want their floor and have more disposable income.
Cool. Challenges around how do we upscale girl acquisition. And one of the key things was we should extend our program not only to cover the initial 3 months, but also to look at how can this be a longer period, a longer engagement for more than 1 year. And then also to map our program into what goals and desires the girls want to achieve for their lives.
And one of the ideas is just to, ensure that your key staff are always linked to our wide network of mentors and professionals that we have with Spring, maybe with entrepreneurs, and just to show them that we are actually genuinely interested in having their career growth. Yeah, thanks.
We looked at two main issues when it comes to looking after our girls in the slums using our mobile app and the website. Sure enough, we are a first-line sort of service whereby we help girls as they come and they have a lot of psychological problems and also physical problems. And the main challenge really was what to do with those girls who do need a physical checkup, they do need medication. How do we handle that? And sure enough, we've spoken about it and to see how we can have that continuity of care, even when it comes to counseling, onboard continuous counseling. The other was scalability and how to have more penetration into the communities, especially those that don't have good internet. And the whole aspect of SMS came up, and sure enough, we are working on that, on how to come up with a proper SMS system to integrate on our online one. Thanks.
I think our discussion was mainly focused on the micro distribution centers that we are set in very, very remote geographies and how to optimize on that. And the other issue that came up was how do we also optimize the use of the M-Pesa, especially in those very rural geographies, in terms of ensuring cash safety for our girls and also for the money.
Fantastic, great. A couple of things. One is that our program is a 9-month program of boot camps and in-the-field prototyping and human-centered design, work with girls, and it's also kind of other technical support and then help with capital raising. And so some of our ventures are capital raising, some of our ventures are, as I said, nonprofit social enterprises. One of our ventures who couldn't be here was because they were in their final meeting with their investors. And so I thought now that that meeting is finished, that Rebecca and Eric might just say their 90 seconds about their business and maybe tell us their news. And then I'll come back and give a little more
Husband and co-founder Eric. We run Cat Africa, which is a passion fruit farm and outdoor network based in Western Uganda. We've currently been running for about 3 years, and key to our model is using girls as our supply chain. So we train girls who dropped out of school, aged 14 to 20, to grow passion fruit. And in the process, they go through a life skills entrepreneurs themselves and take over the running of their agribusiness. And we have worked with over 1,600 girls over the last 3 years. And yeah, we just closed our Series Seed round of $350,000. So I'm really excited.
We're so happy. It takes the amazing, passionate entrepreneurs that are in the room and their teams. It takes the other accelerators and incubators and support programs that are out there that we are collaborating with. So Saskia is in the room, and folks from the PACE program are here, and from Acumen and from Mashoka and Reasonable East Africa. We have such an important ecosystem of support for these businesses. And on the investment side, I think one of the things we've talked about in another session is just how do we most intelligently go from the really early stage, the incubation stage, to the next part of seed, to the next part of early growth, proving out the business model, then really scaling. And so it is, when I look around the room and I think about how many partners we have in this room, it's really, it's been amazing to have you all as partners. So we are on this journey. We are, now that we are coming to the end of our sort of formal work with our first 18 entrepreneurs, the next piece is that we're working with them on continued work on investment readiness and capital raising, continued work on proving out the business model, and building an alumni network. And then we're now moving on to, well, you can't see the map very well, Pakistan, Nepal, and Bangladesh is our next cohort. And so the thing that I want to ask all of you is we are looking for the best and brightest ventures in those 3 countries, businesses that can really affect a lot of girls. And as you heard, they can be in so many different sectors. They can be having girls as beneficiaries and customers, girls in a value chain across the picture. And so thank you for thinking about who you might know. And then we'll be back in East Africa, and we'll be back in Kenya, Rwanda, and Uganda, and adding in Ethiopia and Tanzania. And so I know we have people here who come, who work across all of those regions. It could be that that you have a business that's in Kenya that wants to go to Tanzania. It could be that you're a business that doesn't have a really strong girl focus, but maybe now we've inspired you today to think about having a girl focus. And part of what you would really be able to develop with our assistants would be learning about that kind of girl focus, not only from us, but now also from the first 18 entrepreneurs that have gone through the process. So we really want you to be thinking about that and letting us know. And Sarah, Barbara, and Patricia are definitely open to talking to you about that. We are, of course, thankful for anybody who can think about the capital side. But on the human-centered design side, I hope the other thing that you've really taken away is when you really think about not only the product, but the whole business, the whole process, the whole way you think about every stakeholder. We are so lucky to have Fuse as a partner in this, and I just want to thank them again for everything that they do. We have this incredible team around the world that gets to work with Barbara, Patricia, and Sarah, and our local and Charity, Wish Charity, who holds everything together here in East Africa. And so I want to thank you for that, for being here with us today, and for thinking about the role that you might play, whether you're an entrepreneur and thinking about girls in your business, whether you're thinking about an investor, thinking about having a positive girl effect, thinking about an accelerator or an incubator, where could you integrate this into your work? And we're just really appreciative of having this time with you today. So thank you.